Welcome, friends, to a story of courage, change, and the birth of a nation. Today, we'll journey back in time to explore the remarkable story of American independence. For many years, America wasn't America at all. It was a collection of colonies, far across the ocean, ruled by a king in England. These colonists built new lives, farming the land and establishing towns, but they increasingly felt distant from the decisions made across the sea. They began to ask questions about fairness, freedom, and what it meant to govern themselves. This isn't just a story of battles and dates. It's a story about people, their hopes, and their dreams for a better future. We'll uncover how these dreams, slowly but surely, sparked a revolution. Across the vast ocean, in the heart of England, ruled King George III. He believed in the power of the crown and the importance of maintaining control over his colonies. He saw America as a source of wealth and resources that should benefit England. But the colonists felt increasingly burdened by rules and taxes imposed by the king and his parliament. These weren't necessarily malicious acts, but they were seen as unfair because the colonists had no say in the decisions that affected their lives. Imagine building a home and being told how to furnish it by someone who'd never even visited your street. It's easy to see why frustration would begin to brew. The colonists weren't asking for handouts. They were hard-working farmers, merchants, and craftsmen, building thriving communities. They grew crops like tobacco, timber, and wheat, and they traded with other nations. However, King George III began imposing taxes on these goods, like the Stamp Act and the Tea Act, to pay for a war fought in Europe. The colonists argued that they shouldn't be taxed without having representatives in Parliament to voice their concerns. They believed in the principle of no taxation without representation, a simple but powerful idea that would become central to their struggle. News and ideas traveled slowly in those days, but the colonists found ways to communicate and organize. They formed groups like the Sons of Liberty, who met in secret to discuss their grievances and plan resistance. They used pamphlets and newspapers to spread their message, challenging the authority of the king and parliament. These weren't violent rebels at first, but determined citizens who believed in their rights and were willing to speak out against injustice. They understood that a unified voice was essential to achieving change. Tensions escalated when the British East India Company was granted a monopoly on tea sales in the colonies. This meant colonists were forced to buy tea from a single source, even if it was more expensive. In response, a group of colonists, disguised as Native Americans, boarded British ships in Boston Harbor and dumped the tea into the water, an event known as the Boston Tea Party. It was a bold and defiant act, a clear message to the king that the colonists would not be bullied or controlled. It was, however, also an act that would have serious consequences. The king responded to the Boston Tea Party by sending more troops to America, further increasing tensions. These soldiers were known as redcoats, and their presence was seen as an occupation. They enforced strict laws and imposed harsh punishments, further fueling the colonists' resentment. It was as if a parent had responded to a child's mischief with a heavy hand, rather than understanding their concerns. The colonists began to feel trapped and powerless, realizing that peaceful protest might not be enough. In 1776, representatives from the 13 colonies gathered in Philadelphia to discuss their future. They debated long and hard, wrestling with the difficult decision of whether to declare independence from Great Britain. Finally, they agreed to take the bold step and drafted the Declaration of Independence, a document that proclaimed their right to self-governance and outlined their grievances against the king. It was a revolutionary act, a declaration that they were no longer subjects of the crown, but a free and independent nation. The Declaration of Independence sparked a war, the Revolutionary War. The colonists, led by General George Washington, faced a powerful British army. The war was long and difficult, filled with hardship and sacrifice. The colonists were outnumbered and outgunned, but they were fighting for their freedom, their homes, and their families. They used their knowledge of the land to their advantage, employing guerrilla tactics and relying on the support of their communities. After years of fighting, the colonists, with crucial help from allies like France, finally achieved victory. In 1783, the Treaty of Paris was signed, officially recognizing the independence of the United States of America. It was a moment of great joy and relief, a culmination of years of struggle and sacrifice. The dream of self-governance had become a reality. The world now had a new nation, founded on the ideals of liberty, equality, and justice. And so, the American independence story came to a close. But the story of America was just beginning. This new nation, built on the principles of freedom and self-governance, faced many challenges, but it also held immense promise. It inspired people around the world to fight for their own independence and to build a more just and equitable world. If you enjoyed learning about this fascinating chapter in history, please like this video, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting adventures into the past. Thank you for joining us.